Hey guys, Legion here. Today I'm going to be making a tier list for One Punch Man World. Now keep in mind this tier list is entirely subjective on my personal opinion and gameplay with all these units. If you do agree or disagree, please let me know in the comments, and I'm going to be curious to see what you guys think as well. Now first off, we have Silverfang. I would give him S tier. I just made a guide video on him yesterday, and he's a very good unit. Not enough to be god tier in my opinion. He's one of the hardest units to use properly. If you fail to parry with him, you might lack in DPS compared to the other top units, but overall, still a very strong unit, and I recommend to build him if you do have him. Now Saitama, god tier. Such an amazing unit. In terms of gameplay, he's very fast and fluid. He's really fun to use. And with that, you can constantly do so much damage. He hits very, very hard. And he is definitely one of the best units in the whole game. So if you do have Saitama, for sure build him. You won't regret it. Next up, Fubuki. I'm gonna put her in A tier. Unfortunately, she's a bit clunky to use in my opinion. She's a very time-based character, especially with her shield mechanic. I do like Fubuki a lot, but she needs duplicates to make her more viable, and since that is the case, I'm gonna have to put her in high A tier. Next up, Tatsumaki, god tier. She does so much damage. The only complaint I have on Tatsumaki is the build-up to activate her third skill. You can't move while attacking at first, right? So you could end up being hit a lot, but once you get to that third skill enhanced state, she feels kinda broken. You can dodge every hit while dishing out so much damage. I say she's gonna remain viable for a very, very long time. So if you did not pick up Tatsumaki yet, and you're thinking of doing it, for sure, pick her up. You won't regret it. Okay, now Golden Ball. B tier, a good range unit for SR, but if I do compare him to the other range SR like Genos does a little bit better than him overall, so that's why he isn't too high on the list. But next up is Snek. Absolute trash unit. I do not recommend using this guy at any point. He's like a Walmart budget Silverfang. Okay, now Mustachio in C tier. He does decent damage, but his attacks are too slow in my opinion, like his movement. And when he uses his skills, he does not have a good recovery time. So to me, he's a very clunky unit to use. Next up, Stinger. I'm gonna put him in B tier. One of the better SRs in the game, I would say. He's very good for close combat, and he's also very fast with his skills. So not a bad character to pick up. Next up, Puri Puri Prisoner. I would put him in S tier. Very good survivability. Sometimes he can even feel immortal if you play him correctly. The only downside is he has a lot of sustain, but he does not do massive damage like the other SSRs. And his AI is really clunky. I don't know what they did with his AI, but it's like horrible to use on AI. So even having him on your team on standby is really bad, and you're losing on a lot of damage. But he isn't a bad choice to use against harder content in the game to stay alive. Next up, Sonic. I'ma put him in god tier. This unit is absolutely insane. So much speed and damage. A great AoE skill. He's very fast with dodges and counters. He's like a really slippery character, so you can evade most attacks. For sure build him if you do have him. You will not regret it. Next up is Smileman. I would put him in C tier. Another very clunky character to use in my opinion. He does decent damage, but the mechanic where you have to throw the ball and wait for it to come back is actually pretty bad. So this is why I'm gonna put him low on the list. Next up is Saitama Job Hunt. Absolute garbage. One of his skills is the dodge button. Like, I don't know why they would give him the basic dodge as one of his skills, but he feels like a off-brand Puri Puri Prisoner. Do not use this guy. Next up on the list is the SR version of Genos. A very good SR, I would say one of the best SRs in the game. As a long-range unit, he's better than Golden Ball. He does more damage, and he also has nice AoE on his skills, so if you're fighting a lot of mobs, he's gonna clean those up. Alright, now for the SSR version of Genos. They did really well with him, especially as a free unit. They gave him both a range mode and a close combat mode. He does a lot of damage on both, so he's very versatile. You can use him in a lot of different situations due to that. Next up is Moomin Rider. I'm gonna have to put him in trash. He feels really bad to use. As much as I like Moomin Rider as a character, I thought it would be really funny beating on units with a bicycle, but sadly, he's just one of the worst units in the whole game, and I think he's gonna stay that way for a long time unless they buff him in the future. Alright, now for Zombie Man. This guy is 100% God tier. The damage this guy does is crazy, with his second skill being a block counter mechanic. You can stay alive very easily. Now the trick with him is he reduces his HP with every attack in Axe mode, but that only makes him stronger because the lower his HP gets, the more damage he does. And on top of doing all that, you can just recover back all his HP by just switching forms. Alright, next is Lightning Max. I would put him in B tier. Actually a fun unit to play. He's very fast with his skills and can dish out decent damage. Definitely one of the better SRs in the game. Now for Shylily, A tier. She feels cracked to use compared to all the other SR units, with 2 different modes that can do lots of damage. Very fun unit to have. They did justice to her. Next up is Ion. I do see a lot of people using this guy, but he is really a sweaty character. I would say Atomic Samurai is very similar to him, but way better and way easier to use. So unfortunately, his playstyle won't be able to compete. Now the last unit is Metal Knight, top S tier. He does way too much damage. You nuke the enemy with this guy. He feels so good to use. Only downside is you can't move too much with Metal Knight. He's a stationary damage unit, but having him on your team as the AI feels really cracked. Now for who I think the best unit in the game is, in my opinion, would be Saitama and Zombie Man. They both just have so much broken utilities to their kit, and to me they do the most damage in the whole game. And I'm also going to raise the SR Genos to A tier. I think he has one of the better SR kits in the game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Just remember, this is based off my own opinion and what I experienced so far by playing the game. Maybe next month the tier list is going to be looking a lot different, but for now, this is what I think. That is all for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and see you all in the next one.